All right. This meeting is being called in accordance with Public Laws 1975, Chapter 231. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by notice sent to the Star Ledger, the local source, and posted in the main lobby of the municipal building, as well as on the Township website. We will go to the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Carl Ostergaard. Vice Commander, American Legion Post 228, please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'll remain standing for a moment for our service members here and abroad. Be seated. Madam Clerk, can we please call the roll?
Mayor Huber is absent. Deputy Mayor Laufer.
Present.
Committeeman Capides.
Here.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Yes.
And Committeeman Weber.
Is walking in like stone cold right now. Okay. Proclamations and announcements. Springfield 55 and over residence calendar, February 2025 is posted. If you looked at it, it is an incredibly packed month, and I encourage people 55 and over to check it out. And second, all municipal offices will be closed on Monday, February 17th, in observance of President's Day. Next will be public comment on agenda items only. Good evening. Can you please identify yourself?
Sure. Frank Mazzarella, 1776 Raritan Road, Scotch Plains, New Jersey. So good evening. My name is Frank Mazzarella. I'm here representing the Union County Police Chiefs Association. Our address is 2 Broad Street, Elizabeth, New Jersey. I'm here with representative chiefs from some of the 21 municipalities in Union County. Our organization's mission is to secure unity of action and elevate the standards of police institutions. We promote and encourage cooperation, discussion, and interest in law enforcement problems. Our organization assists in facilitating a cohesive law enforcement function in our county and throughout our state. Our experience has been that when one of our local agencies falls into a state of disarray, the town, our county, and the citizens suffer the most. Criminal organizations and enterprise operate without regard to municipal or county borders. And the only way to keep each municipality safe is to work as a seamless network of departments. There's an absolute need for a healthy and supported chief of police to lead each local organization. If we are to suppress crime and disorder within our county as a team. We are here today as our duty is to monitor the administrative operations of police departments within our county and to help the governing bodies. We know that your committee has a second reading tonight on Ordinance 2025-01, an ordinance to increase salaries and adopt salary ranges for a police director. We caution you that the items should be separated and that you should further consider your decision to add a civilian administrator position to the police department. We advise you that the same solutions you are seeking are offered for free. The oversight and reporting to the appropriate authority is governed by New Jersey Statute 48:14-118, and help is available through our organization to assist your committee and this department in overcoming any obstacles that you may have. Our association offers mentorship, coaching, education, and mediation services at no charge to you and your police department. It is our best interest to fulfill the mission of safety and security within our county. We fully understand that you, as a governing body, wants and expectations from a police agency. We understand that police and police leaders are an expensive burden to manage. However, money is well spent when the mission and goals of the police agency and governing body are in union. That money spent is known and can be generated. We caution you that the money is not well spent when the outcome is unknown and speculative. Going after a highly paid, expected solution is most likely to fail miserably, with a devastating result of vast legal expenditures. Jackson and East Orange, New Jersey, are two glaring examples where money and bleeding unnecessarily, and the police departments are far more worse by adding a director. It's been proven repeatedly that when governing bodies deviate from the law by circumventing statutes, the township pays dearly. By statute, police department operations must be ordered by a sworn department member who determines the agency's day-to-day operation. That person is the chief of police. Even if the town does not call for the position of chief of police, it is still required by law to name one sworn member in charge of operations. A civilian director position does not have the authority to direct sworn personnel by law. A director's position serves to appropriate general rules and handle civilian personal response matters. The director's position provides no more oversight than what your committee already has as an appropriate authority. As a department head, your chief of police has a vast internal knowledge of inner workings of the department and its personnel. Your chief of police should be your person providing information necessary for oversight. Information gathered from other sources should be suspected as to their intentions. Be wary of anyone from outside who tells you that paying them or one of their people will put you in a better position. Especially what they're saying is pay them to do your job, to do the job of the committee person. Springfield Police Department was recently reaccredited for the 4th time. That means they have consistently, for 12 years, proven to an independent third party that they have all the best policies in place, meet the best practice standards, and exceed state training requirements. Your Union County town is unique. Please get advice from people who understand your county and your town's needs. You are all good people. You have your constituents' best interest in mind. Have faith in your local knowledge. Look at your own history and avoid mistakes of others. I thank you for your time, and we offer any assistance and request that you table tonight's director's salary decision pending any further considerations. And if you have any questions, we can answer any for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Okay,
On agenda items.
on agenda items only, yes. Good catch, Alex. Moving right along, administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. A couple items I wanted to touch on. I don't know if anybody saw, but we got delivery of a bunch of our equipment for the Alvin Playground. That will be done by the spring, Committeeman Weber. We're just waiting for the wood carpet to come in and some other items. But we're pretty far along on that already. A couple items on DPW I wanted to touch on. You know, we've been battling recent storms. Every time we turn around, there's another one. We've got one possibly coming tonight. If plowing is necessary, we ask the residents, please don't leave your cars in the street. We're forced then to go around them. We can't clear the roads. Becomes a safety hazard. After we're done with 220 streets in town, we go on to a mile of township sidewalks. All school zones and crossing guard posts have to be clear. Municipal parking lot, DOT bus stops, recycling center, and the jitney lot. Just to give you a little idea what goes on every time we have a snowstorm. We had a surprise DEP inspection on our sewers the other day. Sanitary lines, fortunately, we passed, no fines, so we were very happy to report that. Touch on a couple other items that we had. We looked at the library ceiling. We met on that last week. We had an HVAC guy in and a ceiling contractor in. We're waiting to see what we can do with the HVAC before we tackle the ceiling, because the ceiling there, if anybody is aware, it's a very odd setup. What they did is the ceiling above it, the joists, are what the vents basically are. The cold air goes into between the joists, and there's slits cut in the ceiling, and it just drops down through the ceiling. Not so sure how effective that ever was. We know of no other place that's ever been done with. So it's pretty unique. So that needs to go. We met with a company to look at cameras throughout Town Hall, DPW, and the pool parking lot. We'll be getting prices, and then we'll see where we go from there. I don't know if anybody's aware, our phone system in Town Hall has been acting up. If you tried calling us the last week or so, we had a day where they just decided not to work. Those phones, Apu, correct me if I'm wrong, those were used when we got them? They weren't,
The original system was new, but a lot of the phones that are sitting on desks were bought used for replacement.
yeah, so we're starting to have issues with them because, again, we got a lot of used material. We worked on looking at Monmouth, which is the company we're currently using. They would come in, they would replace all of the guts. We would only be responsible for our monthly charge with them, which is basically what we're paying now. So I think it's a good opportunity to clean up our phone system before we're going to be backed in the corner. I had three days of Zoom meetings with the CBGB last. You too?
Me too.
Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. That was
Riveting stuff.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We met with the architect at his office on the final for the Scotty's building, which we'll be bringing to you guys starting on the 25th. So we'll touch on that. We had a dispatch meeting today. The CAD system is in place and ready. It's loaded. The next meeting is 2 weeks from now in person, but the phones that are required are not in yet. I think, Chief, they were going to call JCT on the phones, right? To get an update to see if they could move that up. We had a follow-up meeting this morning with two of the previous owners that we had in for downtown, the buildings downtown. We've already actually got work done. One guy replaced the stairs in the back. They've already got lined up to get contractors to paint both buildings, pave the parking lot in the back and stripe them in the spring as soon as we're able to. We got a meeting next Wednesday with the next owners. We're gonna go through every building in downtown and have them in to see if we could start making improvements on the buildings. I think that's the only way we're ever gonna get where we wanna get to. So, other than that, I think that was about it for basically this week.
Library functionable.
Oh, yeah.
Air works, so if this project digs into the spring or summer, we're fine.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. What we're gonna have a problem with, though, actually, is because we're now trying to do the adult section and the children's section in the front desk. You're gonna have to split it up. You can't rip everything out, or we're gonna have to rip everything out and the library's gonna have to be closed. It's gonna be very difficult to sequence it, because again, we got HVAC involved also. So we're working on that. Mike Disco, myself, and Robbie were over there, and again, we had the contractors in, so we'll be all right. We'll get there.
Speaking for myself, I'd rather not close the library.
Oh, we totally agree. But again, we have to look at, is it feasible to do it without?
Sure.
Well, we'll keep you in the loop before we do anything. Are there any other questions or comments from anyone? Seeing no one, then thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there a motion to approve the regular and executive meeting minutes for December 18th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
We're almost getting caught up.
New business, second reading ordinances.
Ordinance 2025-01. This ordinance amends the existing ordinances governing salary and compensation for certain offices and employment positions, and establishes compensation levels for certain offices and employment positions within the Township of Springfield.
I will make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-01 with a publication set to be published in the local source on February 20th, 2025.
I will second this motion. Can we, we're open to a public hearing if anybody would like to speak on the ordinance. I'm going to close public hearing. Yeah, sure. Mr. Dowd?
This is a compensation ordinance. Thank you. This is a compensation ordinance that covers a few positions, including Assistant Recreation Director, CFO under the Shared Services Agreement, Director of Public Safety position, Deputy Fire Chief position, Code Enforcement, Officer stipend, Board Health Secretary stipend, Registrar stipend, Deputy Registrar stipend, and the Township Committee members. And it establishes, depending on those positions, it establishes the minimums and maximums for compensation. This is an amendment of prior, what we call the salary ordinance, and of course, this gives the township the ability to we do ranges, that gives the township committee the ability, when it's making appointments or promotions, or just doing routine salary increases, to make those appointments and/or changes without the necessity of an ordinance at a later date, as long as it's within those ranges. They can just do it by resolution, and this establishes those ranges. This does not hire anyone, this doesn't appoint anyone, this doesn't establish any individual salary for anyone unless it is
Currently occupied.
unless it's currently occupied and specified within the ordinance. And for that particular position, that might have been what was being asked specifically, for the position of the Director of Public Safety, that compensation range is a minimum of $50,000, maximum of $200,000 per year.
Does that suffice? Yeah, if you want to come up, more than welcome.
Jeffrey Chait, 47 Shelley Road. Just want to make a comment as a town person. That's a lot of money, and it should go to the right individuals. But I know we have a police chief, and we have a we should have a fire chief, and there's a lot of other directors in town, so I'm making a mention here that, being that it's such a high, I think certain things should be reevaluated before you just put it out there to
Sure.
a vote.
So,
A vote from the committee, I mean.
yeah, no, sure. What I would reiterate is what Mr. Dowd said, which is, we're not hiring anybody with this ordinance. It is just,
Right, but it gives you the opportunity to.
it would give us
And
the.
we have a lot of great people here in town.
No, I agree, and you've got my word that we're not going to rush to hire anything.
We don't.
I mean, you hold me accountable, come to a meeting, you vote for me for election. I mean, we're not going to rush to hire somebody. This only
No offense,
establishes.
but I didn't vote for you.
No, I know. Establishes compensation levels.
No,
So
exactly.
it's not even spending a dime.
I
mean,
think that
it's-
this should be more put out to the town people. It's not about.
Sure.
It's not about the individual. It's
Sure.
about, and it's not about the salary. It's about positions.
Sure.
And we have great people in this town already.
Totally agree.
And that certain people that should be promoted aren't being promoted. And, we don't need to call any names because we know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And we have great people in this building right now. And to hire more people, it's a cost on the taxpayer. And when we have great people here that they could be promoted, and instead of a salary going to a new person, promote that person and that individual with a higher salary,
Sure.
or them.
I'll reserve comments for when we vote.
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. I appreciate your input. Thank you very much. Anybody else from the public wish to comment? Okay, I will close public comment. Roll call, please.
Committeeman Kaiser,
I will vote to adopt this ordinance, just really quickly, because I didn't speak during it. None of this gives the ability to hire a new person. We're giving flexibility to the administration for many positions in the township in this salary ordinance. Over time, we have hired and people have left, and we've tried to tailor it and give enough flexibility to the administration for if there is a future when it wants to make whether it's a public safety administrator, whether it's an assistant to the business administrator, whether it's somebody coordinating a board in town, we try to give flexibility to the administration so that if such a decision ever comes down the pike, then when we want to make a hire, we don't have to amend the ordinance every single time. Amending it, try to do it not every year. I hate opening up a salary ordinance. For 6 years, it's been it's always the worst thing that you can do. Just from from the possibility, people just take it as that we're writing a blank check. That's not the case. The salary range, while it's 50 to 200,000, that's a wide range. does in no way mean that we're going to 200,000. That's astronomical in my mind. But unfortunately, if you put it at a lower threshold, whatever it is, we inevitably always have to come back in 5, 10 years and redo it. You might as well keep it open now so you're not constantly coming back to it. That's why I've always, for the 6 years, I think I've always gone for the higher range, and I think that's consistent in at least my votes of making sure that we have the flexibility needed. So with that, I do pass it, and trust me, I think public safety director, it's not something that anybody is going to rush into. I can tell you and rest assured that I think up here, even amongst us four, there's 4 varying opinions. Anytime you get politicians in the room, there's 4 varying opinions, and in no way are we, and that is open for further discussion in my book.
Deputy Mayor Laufer?
I would reiterate a lot of what Committeeman Kaiser said. One thing that, is very big on me, I'll tell you up front, I'm not sold on a public safety director, but this is a step to creating that position, should we choose to create that position. It's my first year as chair of the Public Safety Committee. I believe that Chief Cook and Committeeman Weber and myself and his leadership team have had really, frank and productive conversations. And I think we would, at least it's my hope, to continue that. And as long as that continues, I don't see a need. I mean, this serves as, regrettable phrasing aside, an arrow in a quiver to try and hold public safety leadership accountable. Right now, Chief Cook, like I said, we've had a very frank and productive relationship, and I don't want that to change at all. This is one step of what will inevitably be 67 steps, because this is government. So that is why I'll be casting my vote yes.
Committeeman Capides?
Yes.
Committeeman Weber?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance passes on second reading. Ordinance 2025-02. This ordinance amends provisions of the Township Code to create the position of Code Enforcement Officer.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-02 as read by Madam Clerk, publicized in a local source, February 20th, 2025.
Second. Public hearing. Does anybody have any, would anybody like to join the public hearing on ordinance 2025-02? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Roll call vote.
Committeeman Weber?
Yes.
Committeeman Capides?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer?
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Okay. First reading, ordinance 2025-04. This ordinance of the Township of Springfield, County of Union, New Jersey, is to introduce the redevelopment plan for 175 Morris Avenue, identified as Block 10, Block 810, Lot 10, within the township.
I make a motion to approve on first reading ordinance 2025-04, read by Madam Clerk, for publication in the local source February 20th, 2025, with final hearing on March 11th of 2025.
Second. Discussion? Anyone, I can jump in?
Yeah, please.
Collecting my thoughts. This is continuation of, I think, our main priority up here of furthering our downtown redevelopment corridor, which in my mind spans from kind of that intersection of Morris Avenue down to the overpass bridges of 78. This is a lot that I think has sat vacant for quite a while. It used to be a bank in Bank of America. It sat for a very long time, and it does not appear that there was any takers for its current use, right? And we now have somebody who has approached and a redevelopment plan there, and kicking off this process, right, where it now goes to the planning board and then back to us, is furthering, I think, everybody's mission up here of trying to breathe new life into our downtown quarter, bringing new people in, a new building that everybody can be proud of, and hopefully more residents that then equate to bringing some business into our downtown quarter, and we can once again be very proud and compete with neighboring communities. It furthers our mission of meeting our obligation for affordable housing in what was required by law. So this is to me, and hopefully ultimately a building that we're all very proud of. This furthers that mission. I'm sure as somebody that sits on the planning board, and as this has to go through second reading again, I'll continue to have more thoughts, but I just wanted to kick that off.
Yep. Yeah, it's a project that's been in the works for, I think, over a year. Glad there's some progress with it. Looks great. Anybody else in terms of discussion?
No. We'll see where this goes to the second reading, but as of right now, I'm not 100% sold on it, but I'll pass it for the first reading.
Sure. Madam Clerk?
Committeeman Capides?
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Committeeman Weber?
For now, yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer?
Yes. Resolutions, if you would like anyone pulled, please say so. Resolution 2025-66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, and 75.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolutions on consent agenda, resolutions 2025-66 through resolution, I think it's 75, 2025-75. How's it?
Done. Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Committeeman Weber?
Yes.
Committeeman Capides?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, discussion and action items.
I will make a motion to approve and request by the Springfield Free Public Library to use Town Hall lawn for the following events: Children's Magic Show with Ed Smoot, June 25th at 6:30 p.m. Adult Band The Coots, July 21st at 6:30 p.m. And the third annual Read Fest with music and scream truck that will be hosted in August at a date to be determined with the electric hookup that is needed for that event. So those three fantastic events, do we all approve?
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm just curious if they're called Adult Band The Coots or just The Coots.
I'm just
Food for thought.
right.
Yeah, you did great. All right, number 2, Committeeman Weber.
Move a request from the New York Blood Center, New Jersey Blood Services request to hold a blood drive at the Chisholm Community Center, sponsored by the Springfield First Aid Squad on Friday, May 16th, 2025. Certificate of insurance and hold harmless is provided.
Second. Madam Clerk?
Committeeman Weber?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer?
Yes.
Committeeman Capides?
Yes.
And Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
And we go to Committeeman Kaiser's favorite part of the meeting.
Let's pay some bills. It's my favorite because I like to talk. I'll make a motion for payroll and invoices for the period of January 16, 2025 through February 11, 2025 in the amount of $5,103,539.40.
Second. Madam Clerk?
Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer?
Yes.
Committeeman Capides?
Yes.
Committeeman Weber?
Yes.
Correspondence. New Jersey Department of Transportation, limited scope pavement preservation project, say that 5 times fast, for Route 78 in Somerset, Union, and Essex counties. Borough of Mountainside Planning Board, public hearing, February 25th at 7:30. Property located at number 2 and number 6 Farview Drive in Mountainside. Those have been filed away and records kept accordingly.
Riveting reads this weekend.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And now we will move on to public comment on any governmental issue. Before we do that, I have questions. Michael Bartosh asks, is it possible to place digital signs that are trailers, like the one by the fire department, placed at various locations throughout the town, showing the drivers that the speed limit is, for example, 25 miles per hour? That section of road of Hillside Avenue from South Springfield to Route 22. I've seen these used in surrounding towns, Kenilworth on the Boulevard and Summit on Morris Avenue. Correct me if I'm wrong, but does the town have 2 of them? Chief Cook.
The town does have 2 message boards. His question initially, and from the ones that I've seen in the other towns, read out the speed and tell you, when they flash and say 25, this is how fast you're going. Although they did have the capability of that, the radar units are not certified and don't work in one of the 2. We have ordered, per our, meetings we had, ordered 2 new signs that are more, well, they're actual, tell you what the speed is, and do have all the flashing lights and everything. And that it will be, his location will be the first where it will be placed.
Okay.
I know they have been ordered. I'm not sure if we received them yet, but as far as the trailers, yeah, they're not functional as far as determining actual speeds. They could say, hey, the speed limit is 25, and that's all they would say. They wouldn't do anything other than that.
Sure. Thank you.
Are they gonna scare the crap out of me when I go by and in my rear view mirror have the flash?
The red and blue ones, which I have seen also occasionally, but they're, from what I understand, not legal. So
Really?
they'll be, yeah, they've created some issues with the red and blue lights. So, but they will be like, flashing LEDs. They will get your attention. Again, my concern with those, though they do work and they will work, but you're also going to get, I don't want to necessarily say young kids, but there's always the challenge who can get it to go to highest. So that happens too. But predominantly they'll, be a preventative maintenance thing.
Sure. Thank you. Next question. We have 2 today. What are the this is from Lori Eckert. What are the qualifications required for the position of Public Safety Director? Will it be an appointed position, or will the township be accepting applications? The answer right now is we are not hiring a Public Safety Director, but if we do end up going down that route, there will be a robust interview process, and there will be a job description published, and we will be accepting applications. It won't just be a direct appointment. Public comment.
Ben Harder, 8 Essex Road. Just following up from my last time I was here about opening up Ruby Field for parking for the underclassmen since they can't park. You guys mentioned you would put it on the agenda for this week. As I looked, it wasn't on there, so just following up to see, what are we doing about that? We're in February. Like I said, kids got tickets last time for parking all year long at the same spot. They need a place to park, and Ruby Field should not be an issue. It's not a, and you guys mentioned last time that don't want to get into a fight with the school. As far as I understand, Ruby has nothing to do with the school. It's owned by the town, so allowing the kids to park there should have no impact on the school or getting into a conflict with them. That's it.
If you go first,
All right, well, I've had a week and a half to process it. At this point, I'm not in favor of letting everybody park in Ruby Park. And if the school is not willing to let juniors drive to school, I'm not getting involved in it. It's not my interest.
How are you not getting involved?
Board of Ed is a separate entity.
Right.
Number
Yeah, but
one.
I'm talking about Ruby. It's
I'm not inclined to clog up a park so kids can park
it's
in the
only
park.
your decision?
I'm giving you my opinion.
Okay, well, isn't there 5 other?
You wanted my opinion. I'm giving you my opinion.
Okay, well, I mean, the kids need to park, as long as you make an area where they can't park, so the, town trucks can get through, I mean.
That would leave
makes
probably
sense.
10 spaces or less then at that point. How
Yeah,
do
no,
you determine who's going to park there?
Why don't we start, I don't know if it's between Chief Cook and DPW Director. Maybe they can this week evaluate the area, mark it out in the heads, right, of how many spaces there actually would, and start there, right? If it is only 5 spaces to 10 spaces, maybe then it's not worth it because there might be 20-something juniors, and then we gotta try
Well,
to.
it's first come, first served. I mean, and the other kids have to worry about them finding a spot. As long as you guys make, or the town makes something available for these kids to park, that's fine. I mean, you can't compensate for everybody. I
Yeah, no,
understand.
no. So, hey, I'm not a no. I think somebody should go out there. I mean, we would have to try to figure out how to market, whether it's painted lines, on dirt,
I don't
that probably,
think they
right?
need to paint lines. They just park and just make a big area where.
Well,
or make a
you
mark
can't-
where when
I
you say
don't-
You can't park, you know what I mean? Or have this-
In my own complex at home, adults, can barely park in the lines, so.
There's baseball games that go there every day and.
There is,
people
but that's
park
in and
there all
out.
the
This
time,
would
so
be, have
that
to-
should not be the final.
The kids can't go and move their car if a DPW truck, right? How
Well, we
that's an
talked about
issue.
That there'll be an area where they can't park.
That would need to be,
Designated area.
need to be delineated out. I'm asking that our police chief and DPW director coordinate. They go out there, they try to mark out how many, places could potentially park, and we start there. If they determine that, hey, there's only 5 spaces, I don't know if I would be inclined to open it up for 5 spaces. If there is significant spaces, 10, 15, maybe I'm not saying it's a no. If there's 10, 15 spaces, then it's a different conversation. But I would start there. I would let the DPW and the police chief go out there, see how many spaces are possibly there, where they could park, and kind of delineate that out in their mind, and I would start there. That's my process.
I was just following up because you
Yeah.
guys said it'd be on the agenda and it wasn't. That's-
I was going to bring it up at the end because I did see you, and that I think Rich Huber, unfortunately, not being here tonight, I think he would need to weigh, I think he wants to weigh in. I know he had a thought or two. That was my opinion. Chris, the other two?
Yeah, no, I just want to say, I was not here last meeting, and this may not be the popular answer for this venue, but I've been an educator for over 25 years. The last 10 years, I've been a school administrator, and this particular problem is the responsibility of the Board of Education.
Thank you. Anybody else? Come on up.
Dominic Sayuda, 97 Colfax Road. I just wanted to talk about an update from October, Meisel Park. They now have a sign on the fence that says, can't use the track when the school's using it for permit reasons, to that effect. After the bugaboo that I put through, they put those signs up. I wanted to say, I went to the county as soon as those signs were put up, and I asked them, so by the way, what did they pay for the permits? They paid nothing. They just gave them the permits. And so, basically on the track, what's happening is between 3 and 7 o'clock, and it's going to start in the spring, senior citizens aren't going to be allowed to use the track, okay, from 3 to 7 p.m. because of all the soccer games that are going to be played on there and all the practices, okay? So, for free, senior citizens' rights to walk on that track between 3 and 7 p.m. have been taken away for free. There is no ledger balance at the school that they paid for those permits. It was offered up for free. That is unethical. And it hasn't even been talked about. It hasn't even been published that those permits were given out. So I just wanted to bring that up. Lights on the field, I'm assuming the public's going to be able to use those lights. Is there going to be a process for it? Is it going to be on until 9 p.m.? Is there something set up like that where the lights will go on until 9 so people can exercise and then shut off? Is there something established? That's what I want to know. Business development, have they looked into getting a restaurant with the purchase of an available liquor license on Morris Avenue? What's the update with that? It's been a while. Are there any leading candidates to get a business in town on Morris Avenue? Want to know. Okay, so last week I saw the town meeting. I saw it on the web. I work in New York City now. I'm busy 15 hours a day. I was upset. I got really upset watching it. I got really emotional watching there was point, counterpoint on both sides. And it, you know, I lack the city experience to know what's right or what's wrong with the budgeting on that. But, you know, I don't think comments like, the comment that really hurt me was the one about summonses that get written, that should get written, that don't get written. There was some comment like that, and that really hurt me. Because I love the police force in this town. I think they do a great job, but I just hope that better minds prevail and that we can get that rectified with the budgeting and everything. I really want that to happen. So that's why I'm here tonight, by the way. I drove all the way, I came all the way here just to be here because of what I saw last week. That BOA site, the Bank of America site, is that gonna be condos? Is that what it's gonna be, or is it actually gonna be like a business restaurant or some store?
The current plan before us is an apartment complex.
It's going to be an apartment complex? Okay.
That it's, I have signaled support, but as you can see, right, Committeewoman Weber hasn't signified 100% behind it. It still has a process to go through the planning board, which will take public testimony, and we still have a second reading here, and then it still comes back even after the planning board weighs in and gives their expertise on it. So it's still a very long process ahead. Okay. I have signaled that I would be in support.
And are there any bonds being issued this year? Are there any bonds for any development that are going to be issued this year that are on the plate that the public should know about?
Bonds for development, I don't know, but we definitely.
Pilot agreements or?
Pilots or bonding for like equipment. We probably will do a bond ordinance at some point that allows us to continue, whether it's improvements to say Chisholm or our buildings, purchasing certain DPW equipment. We'll definitely do a bond on that. Pilots, this may meet a threshold for a pilot.
Won't be this year, probably.
But it won't be this year. So I don't think any pilots on the horizon imminent. Bonding, we usually do a bond ordinance every year.
But again, those are for capital
But
projects.
capital projects,
Not building not redevelopment,
yeah.
if that's what you're driving
Yeah,
at. We don't,
yeah.
we have nothing to do.
no,
Nothing new, huh?
and trust me, we've already had discussions among the budget committee of trying to keep our bond ordinance as low as possible this year, so that we're not.
And we still have a couple liquor licenses.
Liquor license, at least,
We don't have
We
any.
don't have.
yeah.
We don't have any.
Or, but for the town, right, to be,
There's conceivably available licenses for purchase.
right?
Yeah, they're privately held.
Yes.
Probably, okay. Yeah, and the Valvoline station opened. Was there an announcement for that? For the Valvoline station?
I'm sure our bid will coordinate a grand opening at some point in time.
Okay.
Sometimes the businesses like to get themselves situated a little bit before we come in there and cut a ribbon.
Okay.
But our bid liaison has been tremendous in setting up a bunch of grand openings. I had the pleasure of going in the beginning of the year and the end of last year, so I know there's a lot on the horizon with that.
And the pool cover is holding up well in the winter, I'll tell you that.
That's good news.
That's great news. We don't have to spend 200, whatever it was last year on a remake, so.
I'm gonna give you some answers real quick about, because I was the one that was involved in the police discussion, if you want to call it, last
Sure,
week.
yeah.
All right. When something like that's happening, first let me address a few things. First off, you had a messenger up there. What the people at home didn't see is that there were probably about 20 to 25 police officers in the back that I was addressing. No one was sitting here addressing one person like that. That was the room, number one. Number two, I'm on the Springfield Police Department website right now. Back in November 13th and prior, so it was posted the 13th, we had given authorization to hire police officers. I'll give you an idea. 3 people applied as lateral transfers. 1 went to another department, 1 declined the job, and 1 doesn't have a PT certification because he's trying to get it back. All right? So we authorized that. All right? So I did misspeak, I can tell you what, I misspoke when I said we were trying to find the money, because what happens is when you're up here, automatically everything goes to the budget, and I was focused on how much a police officer costs the township, ultimately, all right? Then we can go forward, and I will tell you that after the first meeting that we had of the year, in executive session, they were given the authorization to hold a test and hire somebody if we could not find lateral transfers. All right, so we are working at it. This is not anything that anybody doesn't love the police department. We love the police department. They are not cheap. Let's be clear on that. And when I said I wanted to make sure, because everybody got all riled up when I said I want to make sure we got a bang for the buck, I wanted to make sure that our department was running as efficiently as possible before we just threw another $200,000 at each officer and brought more in. That's, I don't know how much clearer to make that one. But again, if you go back to November, it's there. There is a full paper here. Springfield Police Department in Union County is seeking applicants to serve the community as a full-time police officer. It's there.
Right.
So,
It was just a strong counterpoint last week
Yeah.
on that call, and I just hope that there's other discussions going on to.
there will be. Listen,
rectify
in this whole entire situation, skirmishes like that, if you want to call them that, they happen. And there are things that have to be worked out between administrations and unions and everything else. You know, it's just something that happens, so.
All right. That's all. That's all I got.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add to that, what I heard around town was.
Name and
just,
address. Sorry.
Ken Harder, X Road, just, from what I hear from last week's meeting, and I was here, was the tone of voice that was used in the room. People felt like the police was disrespected. Obviously, I know they weren't. Everyone loves the police department, but just the way they were, the tone and the gestures and everything was, unfortunately from Mr. Weber, that's, I think what I'm hearing from all around town was.
They can't be getting snowflake on me, are they? This
No,
is the
I'm
crew
just
that,
saying, it just.
this is
I'm
the crew
just
that if I
telling you,
told them the
it
sky was blue, they would tell me it's green.
We felt it was disrespectful.
You didn't, though, because you just said you were here.
I was here.
You-
I agree. It was. I felt you were somewhat disrespectful.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well,
Okay, but I mean.
I don't know how else to address it.
It was my first meeting here, and just what I saw and heard, as a resident, I wasn't happy.
can I ask you a question? The people in the back who were chirping in the background, asking the chief if he was going to say something or other things, that's not disrespectful. No, we're going to give everybody a pass on that.
As a committee member, as I'm paying, as our town pays for you, team, the committee, I'm just saying what we heard, what I've heard, and how we felt, that's all.
I would honestly ask anybody, I've been up here, I'm in my third term now. You can go back to January of 2019 and see if my tone has changed at all. I'd welcome that one.
Thank you.
Jeff J, 47 Shelley Road. One question, one comment. The billboards that were taken down on Mountain Avenue last year, is there an update on that? They're supposed to be for a future park?
That's what the plan is. We haven't gotten that far yet,
Okay.
but that's what it's gonna be.
We know that. I had made suggestions about, naming the park last year, maybe if you recall.
Nothing's been done at this point.
And I have your attention, sir. You mentioned about Morris Avenue with the properties and working with the landlords. Is there a strategy with that? Like possibly offer them like a tax incentive if they put money into their property, there'd be some type of discount on their taxes. First, they have to do the work to show they did the work in a certain amount of time frame, and then give them some type of tax incentive for the few years out, because like Morris Avenue, as we know right now, it's like either huge or disarray.
Well, what we did, first of all, the first sweep is to make sure that they're in conformance with all of our ordinances and codes. So we had fire go through, police looked at them, our code enforcement official looked at them. We're trying to correct shortcomings first. We also offered them, we said, if anybody's interested, if you don't want to fix the building, you want to sell it, we put them in touch with developers if they want to sell a building and get it rebuilt. So we haven't gotten as far as what you're alluding to. We've only gone through 2 owners so far.
To be fair, one project is slow and not any what we want to see at the stage that it is, but it is working through the process. The buildings directly across the street, there's 2 of them. The one that has the homes, the Calderon Music, has fixed up their exterior. The building, I think next to it has fixed up their exterior. So it is.
They changed the windows.
Changed the windows.
Painted
It is slowly coming together. Is it perfect? Is it its final stage? Is it exactly what we want? No, but there has been significant progress in the last few years. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
It's very hard. It's a very, very hard process to get people. A lot of those people, they've either had that building for 100 years, some of them have passed it on to their children. So people are collecting rent, and basically, they do nothing, they get a check.
I'm a
So,
landlord, and I have properties. I know how the whole industry goes. The project at Corner Morris and Caldwell should not have taken 6 years. That should have been a 2-year project. You can minus out some COVID time, and I know supplies were tripled and quadrupled for a while, but that property is, that's the talk of town, that people are like, why is this going on forever? When you have Milburn Avenue, you got the old Williams Nursery in Westfield, you got Church Mall, you got other towns that have surpassed, started after,
just so
and
you
are
know,
finished.
if you've come to these meetings, you've heard me speak
Yeah.
about that building 100 times. We are in court with him on a constant basis. We have put more time in that building between myself, our construction official, our code enforcement official, our fire guys. We've all been there on a regular basis. I walk down to that building probably once or twice every week. Believe me, if there was a way to get him to go faster.
And to put it out there, this is us taking on a project that was approved
15.
before our administrator, our CFO, and all of us up here. This was a project approved that we unfortunately took on, but we've taken it on and have tried to use more of the stick than the carrot to get him into compliance. And I'm not saying that I'm happy with it, but it is moving forward finally, thanks to new attorneys and the team working every single day to beat that contractor into compliance.
Well, that's it.
Let-
It's what was then, but you're the
Well-
board now that needs to.
That
Let
took
let
on
me
a,
ask you a question. What benefit do we have by delaying this project? What benefit does this township have?
It's not the town, it's the landlord. It's the
What I'm
property.
asking you is though,
What's the
it gets,
benefit?
yeah, what benefit does the TC have by not making this a motivated project to move along? We don't have any. We have to deal with aggravation of everybody wanting to know why it's not going along. We have taken this guy to court over and
Right.
over and over.
There's business reasons why he may be doing that.
Well, we didn't approve the project. You know who did?
Yeah, I know, well, the past administration.
2015, look up 2015,
I
who
know.
ran this town.
Well, either way, but when it starts, there needs to be timeframes. Look, we can go back and harsh on our old stuff. But you guys, you folks are here. and-
Yeah.
And that's it, need to make it happen.
working with a confines of an agreement, with working in the
Make the
confines of an agreement that was agreed upon by a former administration and that landlord, right? If whoever is honored to be elected in the future, there is agreements up here that we've made that a future administration might have to take on. So you try to work within it. You can't, legally, it's not like we can just rip up his pilot agreement and start
My
from
original
scratch.
question was the current owners that have these older properties that need to, that was my original question here, was how are you gonna help them to improve, not going down a different trail? with the
Oh,
property on the other
I
side?
didn't
Let
bring,
me ask you this, Mr. Basicolo. Since you've been here, which project has been approved through our administration?
The only one
Saks?
that's been approved, I believe, would probably be, and you guys didn't approve, you did approve the Saks project, the old Saks project, but that went actually to the planning board first, not to you guys. The only other one is Patriot Way, is the only one I think that actually, that was reversed, came to you first, then planning board, then back to you,
But Saks, which is
was approved.
twice the size,
at least.
was completed within 2 years.
Completed, rented,
Within 2 years. So how is it possible that we're able to get one that's double the size completed within 2 years?
It's the landlord.
Correct. We are
So what do you
trying
do?
every possible method.
Taking
No,
them
no,
to
no.
court,
And the
that
law,
doesn't-
this, it's America,
The
I don't know what to tell you.
experts are here. I already know what's going on.
Yeah, listen, it's America. You know, you can't sit there and say in one breath that, you know, people have rights to their land and everything else, and then want us to force something that we're unable to
I'm
do.
not on the board, okay? I don't know the contract, but I'm just to say, usually when there's contracts and there's construction, there's timeframes. right?
100% agree.
Penalties.
Don't disagree at all.
There's not in that one, there wasn't.
Okay. That's the answer. Thank you.
Mr. Chait, to answer your question, to answer the original question, we were going to make sure these properties were in compliance with local ordinances. Once that is done, I mean, I think everybody up here wants to see Morris Avenue look as good as it can look. So I think anything is on the table. We haven't announced a tax incentive program, but I think anything is on the table. Meanwhile, we want everybody to be in compliance and beautify as needed and go from there. The original answer to your question.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else for public comment? Okay. One more? One more.
So about the Gomes project, my daughter was this tall when it started, and it's
Name and address, please.
sorry, Dominic Sayuda, 97 Colfax. So about the Gomes project, you know, it's 10 years. Millburn's built 4 buildings in their downtown in 10 years. Bigger than this building, if you combine them all together. I don't, in the year 2025, I don't understand how a contractor can take this long with the architectural designs and what you have as resources today to build a building like that. It shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't take 10 years. I mean,
We don't own the land, it's privately owned, and the guy that's building it is the owner.
now, let me ask one last question, I'll get out. What fines are going to be levied on this guy at the end? You know, is there going to be any fines or any gratuities that?
We've had him in court, we find him numerous times.
We've levied what, hundreds of thousands in fines?
We gotta wait and see how the court rules and what the judge says.
Because there's a use factor with the community. The community lost a city block for 10 years. And that is an affront on the community. And I think the community should be repaid for that. Me and the people that have lived here for 10 years haven't been able to use that city block for anything. And I think we should be requited for that. I think we should be,
Again, though, we don't own the land, it's privately owned.
Right, but I think there's a responsibility with that size land that it should be producing income for the town. Okay, and it's not. And it's tax revenue lost, and there should be fines levied on this gentleman legally, and the town should pay for it, because we paid with no inactivity for 10 years. 10 years.
Has anybody called him? I have to ask you that. You're concerned.
I know.
Has
but
anybody reached out to him and the bank that is financing it?
He
Because,
came in here for one of the meetings, 2 meetings, and yeah, I reached out to him. I actually talked to him.
Did you get a response? I'd love to
At the Valero
know.
station when they hit the business development. I said, you're taking your sweet time. And he says, there's nothing I can do about it. He says,
right,
yeah, he says it was locked up in courts.
stop, that's not even, if that's the answer
This is
he
going
gave you.
back 2 years ago when he was
Right.
there, when he was doing this. But I think we hired a county administrator, right, to oversee the project, the engineering. Well, where is the county judge to say, holy cow, it's 10 years? Where is the county to enforce some of the policies we want?
First of all, the county has nothing to do with this. We did not hire a county administrator.
It's a county road. It serves,
It's a state road. We did not hire a county administrator. We hired a independent construction manager
okay,
to oversee the site and give us his input.
Okay.
We take him to court in Elizabeth, and it's up to the judge where we go from there.
yeah, I mean, the judge, it's 10 years. I mean, you can't argue time.
I don't know what further you're expecting us to do. I mean,
Well, I guess taxes, making sure the guy pays his taxes on this, and back taxes and fines.
well, there is no back taxes. He pays taxes on the land as we
Okay.
go along until it gets completed,
Well, but the fine,
just like any other project.
I'm sure the fines that have been spoken about make sure he pays these, that these are
But
done.
again, you're preaching to the choir. We would love to get that money, but we don't make the final decision.
And is
That's
there-
up to the court.
And for non-payment, is there interest being charged on those payments?
Non-payment of what?
Of the initial levy of the fine? If he
They're
doesn't pay the
currently
fine-
being litigated.
Yes.
So it's working its way through the courts, and the courts are unfortunately very slow, and there's constant motions and constant back and forth. We made, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, we changed up attorneys who started a different approach. We started litigating him. After many years of trying to just use a carrot approach, we finally switched it up when that appeared to not be working. Now we're using more of a stick approach. I think we've seen significant progress in the change of how we went about it. And I think it's finally getting him to, albeit slowly, continue to move at some sort of pace. We've seen it go from a pit to an actual building and continue to be constructed. It's not, where no one up here is going to stop putting the pedal to the metal, per se, right? We're going to continue to be on him. We're going to continue to pursue our actions in court, and we're going to continue to try to work with him to try to see a building complete. Eventually, some point, the courts will rule. He will be required to pay, and hopefully we'll recoup all our money that is lost in his litigation from him at the end of the day. So that's our
We got
hope.
him in court again on Monday, actually.
So he'll be back in on Monday. They'll continue to fight it. I'm hopeful, and I know our advice
That's in
from
county
counsel.
court? Is that in the county?
Superior Court in Elizabeth, right, Craig?
Elizabeth? Okay.
Superior
It's
Court.
on- Yeah, I mean, there were a couple, there's been a number of different court matters that have started here in the municipal
Okay.
court and then that the Superior Court Law Division. And at a number of turns, the decisions that were favorable to the town were appealed.
Is there public comment in those Superior Court hearings?
No.
No, there's not.
No?
And that building was knocked down, by the way, it's 5 years. It's gonna be 6, this July.
Like we said, we started budgeting in 2015.
Right, but the other building was still there at that point. Just so we're clear, that was knocked down July 5 years ago. It'll be 6 years ago this July.
Thank you, Mr. Saida.
Thank you very much. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay.
But
What?
we have one more.
Okay, any final public comment? Okay, come on up.
Hello. My name's Erin Cook. I live at 102 Salter Street. I'm here because the library board has a vacancy that has been vacant since July of 2024. And we were hoping the township would help us get a new trustee because it is making it hard to get a quorum. And we know that everybody wants the library to keep running smoothly. So we are looking forward to the township appointing someone imminently. Is that happening?
I can speak for myself. I know that I try to fill board positions as frequently as possible. I know we asked either the meeting before or the last meeting. I think the mayor made an announcement to put it out for announcement if anybody was interested to email him. I don't know if that's the case. I personally have no one that reached out to me in interest of serving, so.
I know I know that there have been several names submitted, and I'm
Okay.
hearing as a private citizen.
Yeah.
I know there have been several names submitted, and this vacancy has been there since July of 2024. So we are really hoping to get a new person on the board as soon as possible.
I have not seen those names, so if the mayor circulates them, I don't know who it went to. I think we could make a decision next meeting.
That would be fabulous, and we would thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
You know, it's rough for us. You're on the board and you're having a hard time even finding somebody who is interested in being on there.
I know we had a couple people that are interested.
Can you recirculate those names to our
Jen,
clerk?
please.
Yeah, who do we send them to?
Linda,
We can make sure that they get to Linda. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
thank you.
For your attention.
Thank you.
Okay, going once, going twice. Public comment is now closed. Okay. Executive session.
Okay. Resolution 21125, whereas Article 6 of the Open Public Meetings Act provides that a public body may hold a closed session, and whereas the Township Committee will, during this meeting, enter into discussion of the following matters: attorney-client privilege, personnel, potential contract negotiations. Whereas the matters to be discussed in closed session are to remain in the strictest of confidence by all Township Committee members in furtherance of their fiduciary duties to the Township. Now therefore, be it resolved, matters discussed at this meeting will be released to the public when reasons for discussing and acting upon them in closed session no longer exist. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And
Well,
no action.
No action will be taken.
Thank you.
We are enclosed.